Okay, guys, we're back this week, and I apologize last week for those of you that view the class by video. We had some technical difficulties last week with one of the cameras, so I had to get a new camera. The little SD card was very small that we got, so it ran out of space in the time before we finished. But we were just about done anyway, so we were just about done with section 3. And as part of your homework, Miss Mallon was supposed to put on there that you were supposed to read chapters 4 through 7. And I told the class that. So what I'm going to do is every week, I'm going to have you read the chapters before, so this way when you have questions, we're not going over some of the stuff as we're going over it in class, if you know what I mean. We have a lot of material to cover in a very short time, so I don't want to waste time, completely reading through stuff. I want you guys to know kind of what we're going to be going over. This way, if you have any questions, hey, I didn't understand what interrogatories were. I didn't understand what do they mean by foul play, and what do they mean by, whatever. I want you to be able to ask these questions and already kind of know the questions ahead of time, so that we're not wasting, a ton of time doing that, because on some of the chapters that we're going to cover, I mean, and there's a couple of them coming up, there's a lot of material to cover, so I don't want to waste a whole lot of time doing that, okay? Does anybody have any questions about stuff that we went over last week? Nothing? Yeah, and a lot of it was pretty self-explanatory. It was the beginning of the stuff, so I didn't want to cover a whole line and start getting into stuff like we're going to get into now. Now every week it's going to get pretty intense. Like I told you guys, and I'll kind of touch on it a little bit. I received an email from a student, and I won't mention her name, but she said that she thought that we need more class participation, maybe more homework, stuff like that, to get more involved, to get you guys more interested in the class. And if there's things or suggestions that you have about the way that I teach, guys, this is the first year I've taught this. This is the first year that I've taught, but I know the stuff because I've been doing it 23 years already. I don't know everything, but if I don't know something, I have people lined up to where I'm gonna have people come speak. Like I don't know a lot about captioning, so I'm gonna get the guru of captioning to come speak to you guys about it, Whitney Alden. I mean, she's the main person about captioning, everything about CART, captioning, all of that stuff. So that's gonna cover 6 chapters in one night, okay? So that's going to be a pretty intense night, and I think it's going to be on September 23rd. I think she said she was available September 23rd, so you want to make sure that you're available that night to be here, because it's going to be pretty intense. So I'm going to have her cover everything that night. So we're going to need to be on time that night, and probably may stay a little bit later than usual that night, just because we have 6 chapters to cover, and I want her to be able to cover everything. So, if you guys have suggestions about, hey, I want you to speak more about this, or I think, maybe doing this or whatever. I'm always open to criticism, I guess, or constructive criticism. So, if you think that I can do it a little bit differently in a way that, will make you learn or help you learn a little bit better, I try to be a little bit funny about stuff, and about stories that I have and whatever. So if that helps you, great. If it doesn't, if there's another way that you think that you can learn, I mean, I'm all ears or whatever. So don't ever feel like, and if you don't want to say any class, it's no big deal. Shoot me an email, shoot me a text, hey, I had a suggestion about this, what do you think about this? And if I like it, great, and if I don't, I'll tell you why I don't. Hey, I think we're gonna waste time doing that, and I don't. But I'll tell you why, okay? But I mean, I'm always open to suggestions. So, I mean, don't feel like, oh man, we're gonna go in there and he's just gonna talk for 3 hours about stuff that I don't really care about. Well, you should care about it. It's important stuff, and that's why we give this class. And, you know, it's been given by judges in the past, and I think that, you know, getting it from a court reporter's perspective, which they used to do, and she used to do it on Saturdays, I think it's going to be good, you know. So getting it from a different reporter's perspective. She was a freelance, and, you know, I'm an official, so maybe getting it from a different side. I know that you guys didn't take that class, but, and I think that some of you guys have taken this class more than once. Maybe? No one? Yeah. So, I mean, if you have suggestions, hey, look, you know, they covered this, but I mean, it was just by the book, and, you know, we didn't really learn anything. I'm going to try to do as much as I can, especially marking exhibits and stuff like that. So I'm going to bring exhibit stickers on the day that we do and kind of cover stuff like that, so you know exactly what to do, you know, on because that's pretty important stuff. Okay? All right, let's get started. Chapter 4 deals with the working environment of the court reporter, the official court reporter. Okay? So what I kind of like about this book, it's actually pretty neat, is they set out the objectives in the beginning. You know, so they give you right in the beginning what they think you should learn from each chapter. Okay? So really go, you know, look through that when you're reading the week before, you know, what we're going to be covering that next week or whatever. So, you know, this way you can have your questions down, write your questions down, so this way you don't forget them. And, you know, we're in class like, oh man, I had a question about something and I don't remember, you know. So just write them down as you're going, and, you know, that'll help you. So some of the objectives in chapter 4 are going to be: describe the working environment of the official court reporter, explain the different types of qualifying examinations for official court reporters, describe how court reporters are paid for their services, list various job considerations of the court reporter, explain what cautions the court reporter needs to be aware of on the job, explain what a pretrial conference is, explain what a preliminary examination is, explain what a grand jury investigation is, define what an arraignment and a sentencing refer to in relation to court trials, and list various advantages and disadvantages of the official court reporter. Okay? Okay, qualifying by examination. An official court reporter is usually required to pass an examination to become a certified shorthand reporter. We all know that. I mean, you know, coming to school, you have to be certified by an accredited school to even go take the examination. Okay? And different states have different examinations. So here in Texas, I mean, it's $225 for Q&A, $200 for jury charge, $180 for lit, and you have to take and pass a written examination. And unlike other, and you guys probably know this already, but, you know, unlike other professions like, you know, being a certified a CPA, you can pass that one in legs. And I think it's a 4-part test or a 3-part test, and you can pass it in legs. The court reporter is not. It's not one that you can pass in legs. You pass all 3. And let's just say, for argument's sake, you go up there and make 100 on 2 of them. I don't even think it's possible to make 100 on that test. I don't know. You can make 100 on 2 of them and a 94 on the other one, and you fail the whole thing. And you guys, I think you guys know that already. So it's a pretty intense test, but it's intense for a reason, because, you know, you say, well, it's 95%. I mean, that's almost perfection. Well, it almost is, you know, but that's what the attorneys and the judges and the litigants expect. I mean, you know, put yourself in their situation of, you know, if this was my case, I mean, would I want kind of a 75% record? I would hope not, you know. So that's why they make it at 95, you know. And you guys know it's pretty intense. School is pretty intense, and that test is way intense. So, and that's what they mean by CSR. So when you become a certified shorthand reporter, and that's just kind of the acronyms, and they were kind of saying that in the beginning, what, you know, you'll learn what some of these acronyms are: CSR, certified shorthand reporter. Where the CSR test alone is used to qualify reporters, the judge will appoint an official of his or her choice from among those eligible. Some states have certain certification tests that are given periodically. Others have no CSR or certification requirement. So there's some states that you don't even have to be licensed. you can just go and work. You know, and if they hire you, go ahead. And I don't know if they still do it or not, but Florida used to be one of them.
Florida and Ohio.
Florida and Ohio.
Kentucky.
So every state is a little bit different. I think Texas is probably one of the most intense. I think the most intense is California. California has multi-voice. I think it's 4-voice. Yeah, 4-voice. But I think it's at like 200 words a minute or something like that. But I mean, it's 4-voice. So it's, you know, Texas is pretty tough. I mean, you know, usually if you can pass Texas, you're pretty good, and you can pretty much work anywhere. But you know, California's is pretty intense too. So. In these states, the judge has the exclusive power to appoint his or her court reporter. Usually the judge insists that a court reporter hold a testing certification from a National Court Reporters Association. So you can also take the CSR, or you can pass the RPR, which is the nationally given test. So if you pass the RPR, you can pretty much go work anywhere that has the requirements of at least like Texas. I don't know if California, if they acknowledge the RPR or not. I'm not completely certain about that, but you know, the RPR, you know, you can go, you know, to a school for a while, kind of go online and do some stuff online until you feel like you're ready, and then go take the RPR. Once you take the RPR, it doesn't mean that you can work in Texas though. It doesn't qualify you to work in Texas. You still have to pass the Texas CSR to work in Texas. So even though it's the same qualifications, you still have to pass 225, 200, and 180, and a written test. It still doesn't qualify you to work in Texas. Okay?
And you can pass that one in lengths, right?
The RPR, no. No. I don't think so. It's still the same as the Texas CSR. You still have to pass it. You still have to pass it all at one time.
So what's the difference? Is it a percentage rate higher?
No, it's actually just a different test. It's a nationally given test and a state given test. The requirements are the same. You still have to take the same test, you know, as far as Q&A, jury charge, and lit. And you still have to pass it at 95% or better.
But it enables, you're able to work in different states.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is the written material for the RPR done on a national basis or a regional basis?
I think it's done on a national basis, yeah. I think it's done on a national basis. So some things may be a little bit different, you know, but they try to keep it, I think they try to keep it a little generalized, if you know what I mean. You know, they don't do it specifically to one state. So like the uniform format rule that we use for Texas, you know, may not be, some of those questions may not be on there. I really have no idea, but I think, you know, from what I've heard, they try to keep it pretty generalized, you know. Any other questions about the test, or no? And it says one of the most accepted examinations offered by the NCRA is the Registered Professional Reporter, the RPR exam. Some people feel that all official and freelance court reporters should be required to pass a licensure examination before they can practice as reporters. Others feel that as long as the reporter can perform and do their work, a license or certification is unnecessary. I don't know about that, you know. And everyone has their opinion, you know, it's your opinion. You know, if you think, well, you know, I don't think we should have to be licensed. Well, okay. That's going to open the floodgates for all kinds of people coming in, you know, and you know, reporting. Then you're going to get shoddy work, you know, from somebody who maybe is only writing 180 words a minute. you know, and you're going into court and you're, you know, they're going 240, 250 that day. I don't know. If it was my case, I'd be a little concerned, but you know, different people have different ideas about that, and I mean, that's just my opinion. I think that you should be licensed, and I think as licensed court reporters, we make the money that we do because of that, you know? You know, you just don't have people coming off the street saying, oh, I can do that. I can do that. Well, did you go to school? Yeah. What was the last test you passed? Oh, it was like a 140. Really? Okay. But, I mean, it's just my opinion, but, I mean, you know, some states do it, you know, and like I said, Florida was one of them, you know. And that was actually one of the reporters when I went to school that went to Florida to work. But she was at the exit speed, you know, and she went and she ended up doing well. She ended up doing okay. Okay, in 1992, the NCRA commissioned Hay Management Consultants in Washington, D.C. to conduct an analysis of the work of the official court reporter. Among other things, the report recommended that all official court reporters be classified according to their education, experience, and passage of the NCRA examinations. The classifications from lowest to highest are as follows: the certified court reporter, CCR, the registered court reporter, the RCR, professional court reporter, PCR, the senior professional court reporter, and master professional court reporter. Will nationwide classification and certification eventually be required for all court reporters? Some people feel that it is necessary to protect the integrity of the profession and to maintain an element of quality assurance. Check that thing and just make sure it did something. Does it still say REC in red? Okay. I just heard it kind of click or whatever, so I mean, it's personal opinion. I think that we do, you know, and to protect the integrity of court reporting and court reporters as a whole and the profession as a whole, I think that we should be licensed, okay? Remuneration of an official reporter. Both men and women serve as official reporters. An official reporter and officialship provides a good salary, 12 months a year, a pension plan, health insurance, and annual paid vacation and holidays. If an officialship involves traveling, the reporter will receive remuneration for mileage, meals, and lodging, like away from home, and occasionally a per diem, per day, fee if assigned to counties outside the regular district. In addition, the official court reporter may be compensated for providing transcripts in addition to the copies provided to the court and immediate attorneys. Although most states do not allow official reporters to work as freelance reporters during their regular hours, some official reporters may have an interest in freelance agencies that will hire other reporters to do their deposition work. So in some counties, you do have to travel, okay? And a buddy of mine, who is an official reporter now, here in town, a federal reporter, used to work in a little town. I think he worked in Hallettsville. And he did Hallettsville and like Gonzales, and there was like 4 little counties that they went to, or 5 little counties. So they already knew, you know, where they were going that day, and he would pick up his judge that day and they would drive to Gonzales, you know, or they would meet in Hallettsville that day, or Yoakum, or wherever. So they would have to travel those 4 little counties, you know, whenever, you know, they had dockets on that day. And I'm not sure if they did it per week or if it was per day. I can't remember, but I know that they did have to travel. They did have to do it, and there's some other counties that do it too. Still, they still have to do it. So, and it's you know, I think it would be kind of cool. I mean, my judge and I have kind of talked about it. It's like, man, that would be pretty neat. I mean, just to kind of travel and, you know, just go to different places and you see different people, and you know, deal with different cases and, you know, whatever. Even though we hear the Child Protective Services cases, maybe you hear a Child Protective Service case in, you know, Wilson County or, you know, wherever, Guadalupe County. So I think it's kind of neat. But, you know, that's what they're talking about right there. And, you know, they get paid, you know, if you have to travel. So I think a lot of it is set up by the county that you're in. You know, sometimes you know going in, hey, look, this is just part of the job, you know, but you get, you know, gas mileage or whatever, but you have to provide your own meals. You know that you're not going to sleep there, so, you know, they're not providing lodging or whatever, so. But, any questions about that? Any questions about qualifying for the examination? Or the remuneration? No? Job considerations of an official reporter. The official reporter is an officer of the court and addresses attorneys, court clerks, and other court officers formally. The official reporter never speaks ill of the judge or allows others to do so in his or her presence. Even when the official reporter is on a first-name basis with the judge, he or she should always refer to the judge with the proper surname. Each court has its own set of rules regarding proper dress, arrival and departure times, working arrangements with other reporters, whether outside work is permitted, whether the judge will expect everything to be recorded, including opening and closing statements, all jury impaneling, motion, in-camera conferences, and the like. Official reporters make an effort to become members of the entire team of reporters who make up the reporting environment. Guys, this is very true. I mean, when you go to work for a judge, I mean, I guess, you know, there's a couple, maybe, but you're a family down there. And there may be a couple that say, you know, it's just work. No, you become very close with the judge that you work for, you know, the clerks that you work for, the bailiffs that you work for. I mean, and I've been down there in this court for 20 years. I worked for the first judge for 11 years, and I've worked for this judge for 9 years. And it's like family. We have each other's back, and we know. And it's an amazing relationship that you get with a judge as a reporter and a judge, because I already know almost what he's going to say at certain times and what he's thinking at certain times. You know, when people make a ridiculous statement about, you know, excuses for whatever, you know, we just kind of look at each other and we just, you know, we kind of know what the other one is thinking. But you almost get that kind of relationship with each other. And it becomes kind of like a family, and you do. I mean, you watch each other's backs, and I mean, you know, dealing with what we deal with children, everyone has to know what's going on. You know,